The Jam, called Setting Suns, has been described as one of the best albums of the year. Earlier this week, all three of The Jam came into Capitol Studios and were met by John Pidgeon. He started off by asking them if they felt that the beginnings of the new wave were a crusade.
I don't know, it's a bit pretentious to say it was a crusade, but it was just the obvious thing, you know. It was like the logical sort of step for like music in the 70s and the 80s. And couldn't carry on the way it was going, put it that way, you know.
Why? Because
the Pistols were the catalyst, you know. And therefore, it's just bands like who sort of, you know, as far as I'm concerned, who carried that on. They continue to do so, you know.
It certainly put a lot of life into especially live work, you know. A lot of bands. Well, I can remember going to concerts years ago, and although they might have been a good band and everything, there was always something sort of missing. You know, people just sat there and accepted them for what they did.
But don't you think there is a thing that the kids do? I mean, still want to have heroes?
Some sections maybe, you know. When you know, if you're talking about collectively, yeah, I suppose they are. But you know, for all the kids that you meet, sort of on a one-to-one and that, you know, after the gigs and that, it's not a stupid situation.
One of the things you were trying to do, presumably, was, I mean, maybe without consciously thinking of it, was to like kick the pedestal away from under the stars.
No, I don't think it was that so much. I think it was probably offering an alternative. It wasn't just a matter of somebody like a record company or the paper saying, this is it, this is fantastic, you know, and you're going along sitting there going, yeah, great. I mean, I think people could go and see more bands at a local level and make up their own minds for that sort of thing. You know, it wasn't all big business as it was in the past.
Does it ever worry you that you might become, you know, like the people who you wanted to replace before? Because I'm sure when, you know, those people started, they were full of fire.
I think we'll be aware of it when you're going around touring, playing all your old hits and not playing any new material. Yeah. Which is what some people, you know, would like to do now. You know, like they'd still like to hear in the city and all around the world. They just don't want to do it.
Aren't you letting them down in some sense by not doing them?
Well, I feel we was letting them down if we didn't press on with new stuff. Make them pay, I don't know, £2 or whatever, $2.50, just to come to the same set they saw 6 months ago.
Yeah. We haven't reached that.
But it must be a different kind of flame that fires you these days than it was when you started.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, it's got to be in it. It's not so much, not the same sort of hunger, you know, of wanting to sort of get somewhere and improve ourselves. Not to the same extent. I mean, it's just the fact that there's still things to say, you know, things that need to be said.
Saturday's Kids.
And that's one song I'm sure we're coming for that criticism, because it sounds a bit sort of, I don't know, a bit cliche, but, you know, all those people in that song are, you know, factual, because that's written, you know, from like the local blues on my estate, and, you know, it's like Friday, Saturday night, it's up some discos, and that's it really. Not knocking them at all, in fact, it's sort of on their side, it's just saying that it's the lifeblood of the nation, it's the future nation, there's nothing being done for us, you know.
There are still things that you want to say. I mean, is it important to you that there should be things said in the music rather than just something for people to dance to or tap their feet to? Or...
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all important, isn't it? You know, there's no point sort of coming out of a stream of words and there's nothing to dance to, you know. It's not, we're not trying to deliver any sort of manifestos or anything, it's just the simple fact that, you know, the music's a vehicle, you know, so therefore it should be used, you know. But it doesn't say you've got to ignore, like, you know, the dance element in it.
But one impression is it does sound a bit bleak.
What was it, what, musically or what?
No, lyrically, really.
Well, I don't know. I suppose the music's the optimism in it, you know. I suppose the words are pretty sort of doomy and pessimistic, but there you go, that's, you know, that's the way it turns out.
And in fact, the one main exception to that overall mood is Heatwave.
About 5 years ago, you know, like we used to play like the entire sort of Motown catalogue or something, you know, just like all sort of stuff, you know. So, I mean, that's sort of we've been doing anyway for a long time, you know, before we were called like the New Who or whatever it was.
Do you find that you've reached a stage, or can you foresee a stage where you'll find the trio limiting kind of musical form?
You have any combination, and it's gonna have its limitations. You know, I think if you say, right, that is what we've got, and we'll just keep exploring everything within that. I mean, no, we could say, oh, well, we must have run out of ideas now. You know, we get another 3 guitarists and a violin player and a sax player. You know what I mean? And then after about 2 or 3 years, you've probably got a whole bleeding orchestra with you, and you're still finding limitations. You know what I mean? 'Cause you haven't got a bloke to play triangle. Yeah. So.
In fact, you have used other instruments on the album.
Yeah. But I mean,
Yeah, we did that. There was a couple of guys that played on Eight Way, for instance, and there's quite a few of us who was doing it.
What made you decide to treat Smithers-Jones in the way that you did?
No, just an idea. I mean, it went out on the B-side of When You're Young. And we just thought it'd be we thought the song was sort of up to scratch for the album. Just thought it might be a nice way to treat it. So we give it a try. Turned out okay.
Here we go again, it's Monday at night.
That kind of musical idea in Smithers-Jones and using the horns and keyboards, does that mean does that make you want to use more the next album?
No, I don't know, not necessarily. I mean, they're purely, as far as I see, anyway, they're purely one-offs, you know. It's like English Rose on all my cons. I mean, there's not an English Rose on this album, you know. So all those things are just one-offs. We're just trying out different things, that's all. There's no sort of directions or anything.
Do you ever get a feeling in the middle of the night or whatever that you're going to run out of ideas for songs?
I don't know, yeah, sometimes. I mean, I don't really worry about it anymore anyway. I used to, but I realise that, you know, all the time you're interested in that, you know, you can keep writing. And that applies to the band, you know. The time that the interest is there.
I mean, do you have other different things inspiring you these days?
Perhaps more like wider range of things, you know. Not so much like the sort of the youth influence things and that, like, you know, around the world and in the city and such stuff.
First question anybody should ask the Jam at this point is, what do you think about the mod movement? Because you would normally sort of the first band that started it.
Well, I think you should ask the other groups, you know, the new groups like the Purple Hearts and the Calls and stuff, really.
What do you think of them?
I think they're great.
Do you think there is a mod movement happening at the moment?
Yeah, of course there is.
And do you think you were part of it?
There was a mod movement happening about a year ago. Even before that. There was some of the South End kids were following us like 2.5, 3 years ago or something.
So do you regard yourselves as leaders of that movement or anything like that?
We don't regard ourselves as leaders of any movement. We're not into spokesmen of generations. They're a bunch of tossers, really. So we just think they're what we're doing, you know. I think we've had enough sort of spokesmen. We don't think we need any more, you know.
Now, you've had 9 singles out so far, and they've all been hits. But none of them so far has made the top 10. Do you think there's any reason for that?
No, I don't know. Not very good, are they, really?
Serious answer.
No, we've no idea. There's a lot of people buying them. I don't know. No idea. I suppose airplay comes down to it. I mean, the BBC, you know, I don't know why they're not playing them. They're either too frightened or something, but I don't know. We're just writing songs and releasing them, and, you know, just up to them to play them. And they've got a right to play them, and they should be playing them, because there's a lot of kids out there who want to listen to them, you know.
Now, recently, you've both got involved in encouraging other bands. Bruce is managing the Vapors and co-managing the Vapors, sorry.
Yeah.
And you, Paul, you've taken up the case of a group called Virginia Doesn't. Now, well, so I hear. I heard that you came in and told John Peel that they were very good and they ought to be doing.
Oh yeah, they were. They are a good band. I thought you meant like in a sort of managerial role, but that's what it's all about, isn't it? Really. I mean, hopefully we get in a position where we can do a bit more than just sort of suggest, you know, names of bands to people. You know, I was like ideally in this sort of to get in the role of releasing our own records, you know, like bar bands and that.
Well, you like Jimmy Percy?
More like two-tone records.
And you've got a new record out, a new album. It's called Setting Suns, and from what I've seen of the sleeve and having listened to it a little, it appears to have a military flavour. Is there any truth in that?
There's only two songs, I suppose you could say that at a military sort of orientated. I don't know, not really, not the overall LP, no.
But what's the sleeve about then? Because that appears to have a soldier on it.
What's going on, mate? It's pretty self-explanatory. It's really difficult for me to explain because, you know, I don't really want to put like my personal view of what the whole thing's about. You know, I know that seems a bit of an easy way out, but I don't want people to get like just a one-dimensional view of what the songs are about. It's certainly not a concept LP anyway. The military songs, the so-called military songs on it, are just, you know, are basically saying that, you know, don't sort of send me forms to invite me to wars and that, you know, when you're not doing nothing for me, you know. That's basically what they're saying.
There's also a couple of the songs on it which seem to be a bit sort of anti-upper class. I mean, the Eton Rifles, the title sounds a bit like that, and Smithers Jones, which is one of Bruce's songs, I think, it all sounds a bit sort of sarcastic and sneering, you know?
Oh, I don't know, I don't want to really interpret that in the song. Sarcastic, I was just feeling sorry for like commuters and stuff. Because when I travel up on trains, that's what it was all about, yeah. Was it worth it? It just says, I mean, you know, an overall statement of the LP is just work and work and work till you die, you know. You get nothing from it, you know.
Well, until you can come up with something better, it seems that that's probably the only way to do it, you know?
Yeah.
Work is a good alternative to boredom.
Oh.
Now, there's one thing about the Jam which is really strange, that your father manages the group, Paul. Now, Bruce, as a non-relation, how does that affect you? Do you think it could be improved if Paul's father didn't manage the group?
No, but it's going to sound as if I'm creeping or something, you know, if I say I love him, but it works out great. You know, it's been an extra safeguard for us all along, having Paul's dad working for us, or with us, should I say. And it's nothing like, you know, father and son, I mustn't upset John because Paul's going to give me the sack or something, you know. It's ridiculous, it's nothing like that at all.
Glad to hear it.
But before, I mean, you know, there is 4 of us since the beginning, really.
Why did you leave home then, Paul? Was that to distance yourself from that?
No, I just felt like leaving home. I felt like living in London, simple as that, really.
What was so wrong with working? As a local resident, I feel I ought to ask.
It's a bit boring, isn't it?
I suppose.
No, I mean, I fancy the change anyway, you know. Helps your writing anyway. Change your environment.
Now, final question, Paul. Local residents who live near me have suggested that you used to be called the Jam Pots at one time. Any truth in that?
No, this is this malicious gossip made up by the Woking Football Club.
Why did they make that up then?
I've no idea. Communists or something, I think. That's amazing, I don't know.